All right, welcome back, everybody. It's time to get underway with Invictus versus BDS. I'm Intero. I'm joined by Pengu.
Yeah, we are here, and also as Parky and Pinky. I gotta put that out there. It has to be said. It has to be acknowledged and recognized by the masses.
I'd like it to end.
It's not gonna end, Parky. We're gonna keep it up. We have Bank again, a map that we have not cast. Oh, that's right. We've casted it twice.
You know, I didn't. It's been so long since I've casted Bank. What? It's been 20 minutes. So.
But the lovely thing is, Parker, we've seen different iterations of it played by different teams that has different playstyles, and namely one of those things that we saw the Valkyrie being banned in one game and open in the next.
It's true.
I am curious now. It was mentioned by Fresh on the desk. He spoke up BDS have never faced a Hibana ban, and it's an operator that they're very comfortable on. Speaking of comfort, BDS takes away the Thatcher, which is, I mean, that is as comfortable as it gets, as it's never available, so.
Thatcher, I heard BDS takes it.
Alright, yo. Let's see that Hibana ban comes out here, and it does. So I will say that our analyst desk is wonderful, Parker. They set this up beautifully for us.
Fresh knows this stuff.
Now, your turn. Valkyrie and Mira, right now. Don't wait.
It's going to be a Valk ban.
Okay. Oh, bamboozle. Remember, Parker, when the Thatcher is banned, the Kite is likely to be the next victim. However, there is still opportunities now. Do you want to change your option?
I'm going to say Valkyrie again because I doubled down.
Ah, beautiful.
Amazing!
There it is.
I did
it. He gets it eventually.
See, you know, I was going to pick the Kaid because whenever Thatcher is banned, Kaid is always the next ban. I've heard that, actually. So
that's the thing. You fell for the trap because I gave you two options and you could have just said, nah, the Kaid.
I could have picked something else, and I didn't pick it else. And that's such a shame.
Shame on you.
We're going to go back to Bank for the, I think this is like the 7th time we've seen Bank today.
It's been a lot of Bank.
The B stream is literally 5 Banks and 1 Oregon right now. B is for Bank.
B is for Bank. Wow, we got BDS here.
I know that we casted a Bank on this exact channel as well, and now we're going to do it again.
We are.
More things change, the more they stay the same. Starting on defense, by the way, is BDS. They enjoy throwing in this Oryx play and staff an open area. Well, what does Oryx do so well? He jumps through hatches.
That he does indeed. That is the rotation of the map. You can play the basement, go to the first floor, play the first lock of the top floor. You can pretty much scavenge through the map as Elames does best. And fun fact, Elames is arguably one of the most, if not the most lethal IGL out there. So it's no wonder seeing him on a mobile operator that can also pack a punch at the same time. Of course, BDS pulling out the mirror to great effect. They're gonna be extending out their roam, they're gonna extending out the map, and they're gonna have a nice safe area of sight with that mirror window, granting them some vision, some cover, and some lethality from within.
I'm trying to think here.
Yeah, you can think all you want, Parker.
I do sometimes.
Yeah.
This is the first mirror that you and I are going to be casting in action.
Yes,
so.
it is.
She has been a ban over the last 2 games of Bank that we have casted in 2 of the 3, now 4 matches. So there you have it. It'll be interesting to see the way it plays out. We are 10 seconds into live action, and already bullets will rain through some of those soft walls in the main lobby.
Yeah, you saw it here. So the first mirror is inside of kitchen facing towards bottom square, and the second one is extended for the roam as it's inside tellers facing towards lobby. So BDS with great map presence all across, playing on all 3 floors as well.
All right. Going on to drone work from above. Renshiro looks like he's playing up top, and he's got the commando in hand. No Roni for him. That'll give him just a little bit extra bullets in the magazine. We saw some fights lost earlier because of the fact that the Roni was brought out. But here we are.
Yeah, and this mirror, as you see here, it's gonna make it a lot more difficult for IIT to take full control of a lobby. So they will arguably need to go above, make some verticality, open up that mirror window, and that will grant them the keys to the castle that is lobby and tellers, and therefore with that they can work their way through sight. But first they gotta clear the top floor, which is no easy feat.
It's not a castle, it's a bank, Nick.
I'm sorry, I mean, it's potato, it's a big thing. It has windows and, I don't know.
Oh, there's your very first kill of the series. Rafal's C4 blows up Speakeasy, and down goes Rafal now, traded out by Jordan. So even though the first blood goes in favor of BDS, it is very short-lived.
This is something that we've seen multiple times across many different games where the opening kill comes through, but within seconds, just a few seconds, we see a follow-up immediately. The opening kill getting less value in that regard, but this also means that teams are good at punishing back.
And the Buck above doing what Bucks do. Sledge can also use this as his office to just tear away at some of the floor and still more destruction work. It is a cacophony of sounds at this point, with most of BDS remaining in the bottom of the bomb site, just waiting ever so patiently. And they've got good cross potential too. If somebody pushes from Archives, there's an angle in that direction. The stand-in for Invictus is Gig, and he might be going toe-to-toe with Shaiko. That is a scary proposition. We'll see exactly if Shaiko can be moved off of this spot. Still playing there, and the Sledge might just wander haphazardly in. There you go. He claims the kill that he so desired.
You can be a coach, you can be a player, but eventually you will feel the wrath of Shaiko, and here it comes, and as well as Elems might be looking up for the flank.
And absolutely, if Jordan doesn't know this, you can very easily just vault back up into the action. Just about 20 seconds remaining, and Elems still has that mobility wherever he chooses to go. But if you are Invictus, you're gonna have to hurry because you are very quickly running out of time. A Nitro Cell collects Lunar Metal. He's down and needs to be picked back up. And in Joe and Jordan will go together, but Renshiro is there. It's just Jordan last alive, and there's too many ways to look. Bride's C4 was the one that had felled Lunar Metal, and it's his SMG that will take down Jordan. Excellent play by BDS as they take the very first round.
It's funny, we saw that round that Bride, Shaiko, and Renshiro were in each of their own cubicles on site, and they barely moved an inch, and they still made great work with that. Shaiko, of course, got the kill. Renshiro picked up one as well. I believe Brit found one of his own too, if I'm not mistaken. But bottom line is, BDS didn't need to do a whole lot that round, and yes, it is correct. In fact, Bride found 2 of his own. Thank you very much. But yeah, BDS didn't do a whole lot for that round. Eventually, IG ran out of time, had to push the site, and again, you don't have a lot to work with, and essentially, if they can work on that top floor a little bit earlier, have more time to set it up, get the hatches opened if possible, of course, then you have a few more ways into the bomb site to pressure those people on the side, so that when the execute comes through, you can get a foothold and a good attack going in. That was a bit iffy, but again, first round.
Well, open area showing up. The one bomb site that we've been watching quite intently has been that top floor bomb site.
Yep.
Of just the 2 instances of bank that we've seen today, because we don't have access to every single stat on every single bank map or bank matchup thus far. But I will say, for you and I, we've seen CEO a couple times. Very limited Teller's Archives, the first bank. Second bank, we saw Teller's Archives twice. It still seems to be the redheaded stepchild of all of these possible bomb sites. We'll keep an eye on that one, whether CEO will come out as well, if any of the changes to bank really upended the meta.
Yeah, it's interesting. I would think with the mirror, I actually think that the top floor of CEO is quite favorable. You can open up a bunch of nice angles, you can play around meeting and janitors, and you can really tailor the bomb site to your specific demands. And when you combine that with a castle operator on top, which Brady is running, has been running, that just gives you even more options. But with that being said, they're extending beautifully onto site. Remember, it's a basement defense, and it's not a typical roam with people running around. No, they have a fortress. Again, we are playing Bang, I'm talking about castles, it's whatever. But they have set themselves up inside of kitchen again, and they're extending out the roam, and they can fall back via the soft hatches in open area.
Shaiko's still playing off-site. I don't know if this drone is going to see him or not as it scoots on by. He actually misses his opportunity. That's a rare botch from Shaiko. Uh-oh.
Oh, aggression.
Oh, Speakeasy's just going to take the fight. Down he drops. He can follow up here. Speakeasy is so good for Invictus, and I hate that he had to change his name. He was Speakeasy Peasy, and I appreciated it a lot, but now he's back to just simply Speakeasy. Lunar Metal from above trying to set things up, but Elems gets caught out by Gig, who walks right in. That's a good bit of coordination, and Brede takes some shots through the wall as well, as Gig could have very easily picked up a second.
Gig getting on the board, that's big for him, and he's got big shoes to fill here with Hysterix being gone, but in the NIP game before, he did a decent job at Argue, and already now with his first kill onto Elems, he's looking to do good in this game as well. With that being said though, Gig finds a second, he's on Bride, and Gig is on a rampage right now.
Up he stands, and now Speakeasy's in on the fun as well. Shaiko on the main stairs is dispatched away, and Invictus find themselves in a 5v2. BDS trails. Renshiro's next one up by the stairs. Rafal buried inside of the middle of the site. Both of these players from BDS have some clutch potential, but the downside is that you've lost arguably the 2 most formidable players on BDS, both Brede and Shaiko. So now it becomes a waiting game. Do Invictus commit any real mistakes that can be punished by BDS?
Yeah, if you're IG in this position, I actually think that you should just do almost nothing, Parker. Just take your time. You have so much left. You have almost a minute remaining. Drone it out, breach the hatches, go into server, open up the wall, play for the plant. I mean, they have one C4. Sure, they have the echo, but once you start putting down that diffuser, that's when you can explode. Drop down the hatches, go for those gunfights. Either you get the kills or the plant will go down successfully.
Well, they're waiting and just tempting anybody from BDS. Nitrocell goes out, but it's a bit too early on. All of those flashbangs go in and Rafael can't do anything, but finally BDS gets on the board. Joe is halfway through being able to get that diffuser planted. More flashbangs. Yokai goes up, but it's a little bit too late. No coverage from Renshiro. So the clock starts ticking, and there goes Rafael. Gig's on a heater. Who is this guy? 3 kills? How about 4? A quad from the coach himself, and Invictus takes the second round.
When he got his second kill, I said a rampage, and I was like, maybe I called that too early, but he did not disappoint. He dropped 2 more further in that round, and IG played that round to near perfection in the stage 3 and execute. They went for the plant once the C4 came out a little bit too early, as you mentioned. It missed, did not hit the mark, and when they actually came through, they started tossing flashbangs into red, forcing the mirror away from the mirror window. She had no C4, could not toss it, and Gig dropped the backside hatches and stabbed them from behind. Beautifully done by IG.
So, with that said, that's I think you could say a relatively routine take on to Red, especially if a team you know is going to use their nitro cells on defense to try and stop the default plant that went down by Jordan in the right spot, or by Joe rather, in the right spot. I keep getting Joe.
Yeah, Joe and Jordan.
Joe and Jordan, they're different.
Yeah,
People.
they're different.
I see the names and I'm like, oh, J.O.'s the start of Jordan.
Yeah.
And I'm wrong.
It is what it is, Parker. You're doing a great job so far.
I'm doing a great job so far. You are doing a great job so far.
Thank you, sweetie. Anyway, I saw Fresh use a speakeasy phrase where he said, because you mentioned the, the speak easy peasy.
Yes.
Fresh said, what if you just renamed to, I think it was an Easy Siege, something like that. So if he has like a great game, you can be like, oh, it's Easy Siege, because like, you're dominating your opponent. Oh, okay, whatever. It wasn't my joke, so it doesn't have to be funny.
Rare Freshness.
Yeah.
5 seconds left.
Sorry, Jack. I don't have you on this one.
It is what it is. I tried, Jack. I tried my very best indeed, but it is what it is.
I will say he's also making his debut here at a major. Obviously, he's an EUL analyst, but he's working his first big event, and I think he's done exceptional as well. So,
great guy all around, super helpful. I will say my first time here, everyone is super kind, super sweet, and super helpful. Not share their information and their knowledge, nor their feedback. So for that, I'm eternally grateful, Parker.
As am I. That said, we're now 30 seconds into round number 3, and BDS remains on defense. Bank has very much skewed towards the attackers thus far, and, well, Invictus just picked up their first attacking round. They've done some significant damage to Alem, so they could start off well again. Much has been talked about Finka and her introduction to the meta, and it stems largely from APAC teams liking to run her, so here she is. Speakeasy in particular can do some real great work on that particular role.
Yeah, we see Alemsh holding down the 94th. He's going to be trying to deny those Selma charges, but it does not exactly go through. He's forced to drop down the hatch, and 90 control has been granted to IG, using that ace to perfection now that the Hibana is off the board. And this is going to apply a great amount of pressure both to the first floor of Elevator, but also the top floor of 90. Now, it's very hard for Rafael to play in this hallway. It's very hard for Limbs to retake as well. He's going to cut a line in the map where IG can play around it and try and take the next step up this red staircase lobby.
He's still in the same position, or Rafael is still in the same position he's been for quite a while now, assuming the spot with Alem's not too far off. Just a level down below, and they're going to try to take care of that Banshee with Bride in a cheeky position. That soft wall opened up on double panel, looking towards the main stairs, that spiral staircase, and that is a powerful spot to play in. No, he doesn't exactly have the most powerful weapon in the UMP. That was a miss by Gig, by the way. I bet he wishes he could have that one back. So with Reckless Abandon, he tosses in a grenade, but doesn't do anything at all. Adrenal Surge goes off, and down goes Alems. What had started is now finished. BDS's guns coming alive. 2 for the scoreboard. Speakeasy and Jordan removed from play, and Lunar Metal will join. But there's Gig. Is he the difference maker? That's the real question. If he swings in, he's going to have to go toe-to-toe with Shaiko, but both those castle barricades protect him for now.
Yeah, and those castle barricades, Parker, Gig did have 1 nade remaining. He chose to not go for the castle barricade and could not help his team, but Joe finds the kill on Rafael, making that a 2 versus 2, setting IG up for a win.
Shayko's still very much in play and full HP. A 2v1 is a winnable situation for him, but it becomes even easier now as it's a 2v1 favoring his team. Gig in hot pursuit. Diffuser down, 20 seconds away. He'll head up towards Conference. He doesn't see the head of Shayko, but for a second he does. And the second is way too late when you're going up against the talented Frenchman. BDS bounce back and regain the lead by taking round 3.
Nice try and valiant effort. Again, when Gig was on that side rappel of CEO on the small box, I would have loved to see that grenade not be aimed for the player, but for that castle barricade. Open up the line of sight into meeting. Help your team who's trying to walk up the red stairs, walk up the main stairs. Because right now, when you're rappelling onto the side windows as Gig or on Sledge, you can't help them. Sure, he got his 1 kill on the side. Sure, he got his 1 kill. But after that, he's forced to rappel in a window where, again, the castle barricades completely separate him from the rest of his team, and thus BDS can pick their fights as they please.
But anywho, round number 4 and back to open area they will go. This is where BDS started things off, and the struggles that Invictus had will need to be fixed. They were not particularly good on entry, and through the roam clear they got gunned down, and it's not going to get any better this time. Speakeasy's the first casualty of the round. Alems on the roam finds him, the Finka removed from action. Somebody who has historically been at the top of the APAC standings. Doesn't matter if it's APAC South or APAC North. Speakeasy is usually in that conversation and has been the standout so far this last stage. Well, he's 1-4. That is not ideal for somebody whose goal is to get as many kills as possible.
No, you're absolutely right, Parker. But then again, if BDS is known for one thing, is that they do not make it easy for the opponents to get anything, especially when it comes to kills. Whenever they're in a tight position, either they will group up, fight together, or they will simply fall back, give up the ground, and understand their next win objective. So whenever you get into these positions, you see already now, BDS, they're falling apart, or they're falling away rather. Almost half the time has been spent. Sure, they give IG the top floor, but they do not give them any leverage in terms of man count. They will play the round 5 versus 4.
Well, I mean, there were a lot of people who thought after Hysterics wasn't able to play and Gig got added to the roster that they were going to be playing 5v4 just simply because Gig didn't have any top-level experience. But hey, he's been able to compete quite well with the team so far, and he's actually the top frag at the moment, getting the lion's share of kills. In fact, more than the rest of the team combined. Good for him.
Very good for him indeed, and I think something could be said that if Gig can find his footing early on, I think that's the best way for IG to get success. Not having to have, let's say, quote-unquote, dead weight on your shoulders. He's pulling his part, Parker.
Absolutely. So, we have a minute to go, and Invictus still trying to figure out what comes next. How much of a crippling blow was it to lose Speakeasy on that Finka roll? Well, knowing the way that Invictus plays and the bull rushes they like to pull off, I imagine losing the Adrenal Surge was quite unfortunate for them. They're still hunting down all of the roamers. I don't think they know where Alems is positioned over by blue. They have a sinking feeling, and Jordan's just going to run right at him. That is not ideal. And case control with Alems picking up 3 big kills, still in the same position. It's incumbent upon Invictus to go grab that diffuser as quickly as they can. And well, tick-tock, 30 seconds left, and you are miles away. But like that, it seems like BDS is just going to get aggressive and take the fight to them. Don't get too over-eager, because you've still got a job to do. Alems getting back to the bomb site, leaving very little time, and Invictus will scamper on over. Nice play by Joe, but he's got 10 seconds to get that case he just retrieved back to the bomb site. And this is a tall order. Down goes Gig, and Joe will walk right in. It's a 4K for Alems. Very narrowly an ace, but it's denied all the same. 3-1 for BDS.
Yeah, we see we see Alems in the player counter where it's being hyped up as always, and that's always great to see. As you said, almost an ace for him. He got the 4K. It almost seemed like IG was had somewhat of an idea that Alems was creeping up those server stairs. But then, as you said that, we see Jordan just fully sprinting with Diffuser into the arms of Alems. He picks 2 kills off of the Thermite and the Buck, and BDS practically wins the round off that play. Not exactly sure what was going on. There was a drone right next to the door that could have been used to check the staircase for Jordan. And even then, if you're gonna run in, have your gun up, or at the very least, drop the Diffuser in a safe position so that you can retrieve it if you need to.
Call it the Lion's Den when you drop the diffuser right in the midst of your opponents, because you literally have to go into a den of lions to retrieve it. Possibly the worst place, and anybody who's played ranked knows very well that experience of seeing somebody on the other side of the map dying well, they just camped the diffuser. So not an ideal spot to find yourself in. CCTV down below along with walkers. That's the bomb site that we will go to. So far, there has been no Teller's Archives, and this is in keeping with what we've seen earlier. It is very rarely played by teams. Open area has become the new site to hold on to, which wasn't the way that Old Bank played out. Teller's Archives was often seen as one of the go-tos other than CEO upstairs. So small changes, and of course the addition of new operators will change the ebb and flow of a map.
Absolutely true, Parker. And I think the issue with Archives Teller is just that the second the attackers get control over upstairs, which is very difficult to hold when it's not the bomb site, once the vertically comes through, you just have nowhere to play, and you end up playing an open area regardless. So why not just play the open area bomb site and you can play it like it's the actual bomb site? That way, safe is safer, you're safer, and the top floor vertical doesn't get as much value for the attackers. So Wise chose to go open area, and I'll also say that BDS have been playing this mirror to near perfection, and they seem extremely comfortable around how the operator works.
Absolutely. And like we said, this is the first time that you and I are casting a match with Mira available here on Bank today. So that is something also that we can look back on, as BDS after this round will have one more to go. Now, we talk about this. This is an attacker-sided map by and large, but maybe having Mira in play completely upends that. Maybe it makes it so the defenders have a better chance. That's something we'll have to watch when Invictus goes on the defense.
It certainly is, and the question comes, can IG play the same style of Mira and to the same level of expertise? Because the Mira can actually hurt you if you misposition them or just don't understand exactly how to play around them. It's the reason why on some maps like Coastline, even though the Mira is open, you don't typically see it very often, because if you go below the bomb site, you buck up through the floor, you open the mirror, now you got another angle to worry about also.
Well, only 2 of those exothermic charges that can be used appropriately. No can openers / secondary hard breach gadgets, though you do have an ace, so those Salmas can be tossed down, but you don't necessarily want to use them on a hatch. They're not exactly the most efficient way to open them up. So you use 2 of the exothermic charges, maybe save the Salmas for one of the panels leading into the bomb site. Need I remind you, it is a CCTV lockers defense, and there's been almost no action thus far. Very little roam presence or map control for BDS, barring the site.
Yeah, I'm curious if IG has any plans of trying to take server anytime soon, because they could try and use the Selma charges on the mirror window itself, assuming that they have to nade the mute jammer behind it, but it's always an option. But the way it looks right now, BDS has control of most things besides the head drops on backside.
And there's one of the adrenal surges off as well, so Speakeasy knows something, or at least gets a call as Rafal's taking some damage from Gig. He's got backup Joe right next to him. They can begin to pressure this window leading into the back of lockers, but they're all positioned towards the back of the bomb site. Shaiko in particular, who finds Lunar Metal. Another kill could be within his grasps if he looks the right direction. You got smokes primed and ready, but a Nitro Cell is there that could potentially greet it. A flash goes out. Renshiro, unsure if he's blinded or not, waiting ever so patiently. Gig goes down. There goes a Lems, but Joe falls as well. Jordan survives the Nitro Cell, and it takes out Renshiro to boot, but he's dropped down for the count. Speakeasy will need to clean up. Brede and Shaiko will await him, but 2 seconds left. He's not making it to either of them. He makes up Brede, nice kill, but ultimately it's for naught. And that's the round in favor of BDS. They're up 4-1.
Yeah, Speakeasy gets some kills to pad his stats, but honestly, when I saw him inside the server tunnel, I was thinking this flank could be monumental for IG, but it turns out that Speakeasy was the last guy to get contact with BDS, where if you're going to be the flanker, it's very important that you're not the last of the party, because if you are, that means there's no one else to assist with the flank, and since you're not the main push, it means you don't have diffuser. So, essentially, if Speakeasy could have walked in a little bit earlier and created the chaos on both sides, perhaps IG's position would have been a little bit different.
Do you think we see IG take a timeout at any point, or do you think it's kind of foolish, given the fact that their coach is actively playing?
I think they're sending it, Parker. I mean, they did have that Siege.gg article where they spoke about, we have a strat book, we threw it in the trash, and we're just winging it, going with it, and feeling it out. And I think that's what they're going to continue with. Maybe if they start winning, or maybe if they go side swap, they want to refreshen up on their strats, so maybe they'll discuss, do we show strats, do we just take the loss, whatever it might be. Because remember, you gotta play the long game in the group stage. You can't show it all on your first day. And, well, IG, they've been looking okay today so far. They are up against BDS, of course, which is no easy task. I would argue that BDS is looking to be the best team in the world. As a biased European myself, of course, but I do think that's a factual statement.
Not world champions.
Not world champions. More so in the sense that they seem to be the most flourished, completely fulfilled, full package deal that you can get. The players, the strategy, the lack of weaknesses, the improvement and the consistency that we see from them.
Remind everybody that the World Champions are only awarded at the end of the 6th Invitational.
That is very true.
Yes. And maybe even the World Championship when the event happens, whenever that is going to be going underway.
Yeah.
So, we'll see, and we'll keep an eye out for it. Anywho, this is the final defense for BDS here, and we've seen so much bank today that it's hard to differentiate certain setups, but this one is making it somewhat easy because of the fact that there is a mirror in play.
Yep, that is very true, Parker, and this is what I wanted to see, the CEO defense with the mirror windows. You can tailor the site as you want, you can do great stuff with that, and with the castle as well as we see, you can just make it tailored to perfection. And we're going to see a similar fashion by IG. They're going to clear the 90, there's a beautiful nade, gets the 90 wall open, get that elevator wall open as well, so similar attack as previously.
And that was Gig with the nade as well, so even if he's not necessarily a player,
he can shoot, he can throw. He
can definitely line things up, so kudos to him for that. Alem's playing behind this mirror window inside of Conference, still in the same spot. They've alleviated some of the pressure on behalf of Invictus by taking out those double panel walls. We cheekily referred to them as Kanto spot. Yep. Out goes the bulletproof camera that was also down by the main teller desk.
Keep an eye on Lemsh here because he'll have to deal with the verticality of Speakeasy coming in very soon, and he's in mirror window facing red stairs. And Lemsh's position here is key, and it's assisted by no other person than Shaiko.
There's an adrenal surge that'll go off as well. 2 more adrenaline surges for Speakeasy as he heads up to the spam mark on the ground, or the yellow ping as you want to call it. Still playing off that angle. The one thing I will say about Invictus is they've been quite slow almost every single round. Now maybe that's just that they don't like playing bank necessarily, or maybe that BDS is holding them at bay. But with how the attackers have been quick in every other bank we've seen today, you would suspect they would be a little bit faster to take some map control. Alas, not to be. A grenade gets tossed out by Speakeasy with 50 seconds remaining, and once again, they're still plotting down below, but the first bit of action comes with Rashiro taking out Gig.
Yeah, Pargrin, yes, IG have been kind of slow, but if you look at the situation at hand with the castles and the mirrors and the bulletproofs, it's a very complex way to go about this, and IG does not have any smoke grenades to cut off these lines of sight. They're going to take raw gunfights, and Lemsh finds Speakeasy, but Joe and this Repel cannot help his team much, Parker.
Jordan gets 1, so that's the very first kill, but Lunar Metal is also down, leaving Jordan and Joe to work together hand in hand. 20 seconds to go. There's an exothermic charge to go off, shooting through some of the soft wall to give themselves a better angle.
Yeah, but look at this, Joe's in the roof, last man standing, cannot help his team, drops down a Scala to try and find something to do, but gets shot down by a Lemsh. Yeah, that's a bit rough. Time is of the essence, time was not spent efficiently, and IG ultimately falls. Now we get the side swap, and IG will have to be in command, using that mirror to full effect.
Yeah, that was a commanding performance by BDS. Exceptionally done, and rebuffing them every step of the way. Now Invictus goes on to what we widely consider to be the harder side of Bank, and it doesn't certainly seem that way if you've been watching BDS play. The bad news for Invictus is that Gig, after starting off strongly as he did, has fallen off, and the rest of the team has not really been there to pick up the pieces. At one point, there was 9 kills between the entire team. Now they're at 16, so only 7 kills over a couple rounds. Not particularly good, especially when you're going up against a foe like BDS, who is so strong and capable. Every single player on BDS can top frag quite effectively.
They definitely can, and if you look at it right now, the lowest fragging player from BDS sitting on 4, that is Raphael, Renshiro, and Shaiko, and the highest person in the house is Lemsh on 7. So there's only a 3-kill difference between the top and bottom of BDS, meaning that every single player is putting in just about the same amount of gunning effort. And that means that if you take down one player, there's 4 other more to go just like him. Whereas, in this case, you know, you had Speakeasy struggling in the beginning, he found some exit kills, he's now sitting on 4 before he was on a single kill. Lunar Metal yet to find the kill himself, so there's a bit of a different gun value on the side of IG.
Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb.
All right, well, Lunar Metal down below still searching for his very first kill. He's the only player that hasn't been able to do that just yet. That's a tough spot to begin. Lunar Metal in particular brings a lot of intangibles to this team. That's something that we've talked about in all of our matches today, Nick.
Yep.
Is that there are contributions that are made that aren't necessarily on the score sheet, and oh my goodness, Speakeasy, what were you trying to do there? I don't know.
Sure.
But you get picked off by Brede pretty quickly. BDS has a very early advantage, and it's not traded off. BDS looking to go for the throat here. And match point is potentially within their grasps.
Yeah, you see the difference in the BDS setup on defense versus IG is that BDS would use a mirror window here to establish some sort of safety net that they could play around. But Invictus do not have that.
They have him on cam, so we'll watch the Oryx as he roams and grazes the wild beast himself, searching the highlands. And he's gone. The fastest operator in the game, technically, at full speed, and Lunar Metal is still roaming down below inside of Archives. They can find him at some point, and they are in hot pursuit of him, but they are not going to get there just yet. They have other things to do. This is a bottom floor defense for those that are curious and haven't seen. CCTV and Locker, and down goes Lunar Metal. So they managed to secure the kill on the Oryx. That's Shaiko credited with it, and I mean, Shaiko's been having a good day, but no better than the rest of the team. Alems, in particular, has been a standout performer. He takes down Gig before Jordan ends any potential there for more than one. But Jordan and Joe are the last two. How similar a refrain this is to rounds previously, where they have to work together to go against the whole brunt of BDS.
Yeah, you know, IG is kind of run into a situation where they're like, oh, we roamed on basement defense. And you ask them, but what did it cost? And you go, everything. 3 players fell apart. It's Joe and Jordan once again, the duo to do it all, but also to do none, because they have yet to find success together. Hopefully this round they can show us some flair, as they need to find 4 members of BDS to swing this round in their own favor.
I don't know if Joe realizes how close the Shaiko show was to rolling up on his front door, but there you have it. The soft hatch opened up, and the hatch by server left soft is not abnormal, but isn't something you see all the time. The thing is with Joe's attention elsewhere, it leaves Jordan as the sole player on site to look after the 3 who will inevitably come after him. And Joe decides, well, probably the right move, making some calculus. We gotta go for broke. We're running out of time. We are outmanned and outgunned. It doesn't matter because you die, and then so does Jordan. It's 6-1 for BDS.
Yeah, and again, you compare the teamwork on the roam game, the full commitment, the using the mirror as a fortress on the map to slow down the attackers. BDS have so much time, so much freedom. They're not getting challenged on their entries. And IG, they need to make it more difficult for them. Maybe put up some mini games, make them think, but oh, there's a mirror. Do we go above? Do we run through it? Do we use a smoke grenade? Do we go for the heart breach? Give them some decisions to make, because right now, BDS, they chose the pace on defense, now they're controlling the pace on attack as well. That should never be the case.
Oh my, and no timeout being taken, by the way, as we speculated. They're just going full send.
They are.
So, hey, I mean, that's just the way it goes. A bit of a disappointing bounce back from Invictus after their earlier matchup was significantly closer against Ninjas in Pajamas, but maybe they just match up more favorably to NiP. And one thing I have found is APAC teams do match up decently well to LATAM teams.
Yeah.
So it's entirely possible that Invictus came out guns a-blazing against NiP, caught NiP off guard. They needed some time to warm up, but BDS is so indomitable and has looked that way. The only team that really gave them any trouble was Empire.
Yep.
At the Mexico Major, that's what slowed down their momentum, but Empire don't look like the same team right now, so who knows if somebody will get in the way of BDS. Obviously, let's not get ahead of ourselves. There's still a whole match to play. It's entirely possible Invictus comes back, however unlikely it may be.
No, certainly. I think one of the key factors for the reason why Empire found the number of, or had the number of BDS is just the familiarity part. You scrim so much domestically, you play each other in the EOL. That's not the case for IG. They're going in, first of all, without their main player, Visterix.
Yeah.
And second of all, they've never really played BDS at this stage, right? So what can you expect? I mean, it's a very tough match for them, and it is probably the most difficult opponent that they've ever played this entire tournament, arguably.
We were talking about this when we were in between matches, where it's best of ones. Some of these teams haven't played their other regional counterparts in quite a while. They're still feeling each other out, right? So these teams could potentially settle in. Keep in mind, Team 1 looked terrible after their first day of Mexico.
Yep.
And they won the whole major. So we need to talk about storylines in the immediate without getting too deep into what could potentially happen in the future.
Certainly. You never know what happens. Maybe tomorrow BDS just gets completely nullified by most teams in their group that they play tomorrow. Maybe they keep up a streak as they have been and as we expect, but we never know what to come, and that's why it's so exciting. Although, I did wish we had seen less Bang today, but there's always a day tomorrow.
Hey, I mean, Michael and I had to cast 4 straight matches of Consulate at the Mexico Major, and then got one of the best consulates after that in our 5th consulate in like 6 maps. So sometimes that's just the roll of the dice that they give you. Alems, by the way, is the first casualty, the first domino to fall for BDS. Invictus will need to look for more if they want to stay alive in this map. They were unsuccessful in their first matchup against NIP. They're looking to get some points on the board. BDS are a tough team. Everybody will tell you that. Europe will tell you that, how much of a nightmare it is. But Invictus certainly have their hands full.
Certainly, and if you notice that actually, the player that was on the side rappel, I believe it was Renshiro, onto CO, he actually got rid of that castle barricade in the double window, allowing that line of sight into meeting and pressuring the side, and that's exactly what IG did not do when they were on attack. So BDS, they understand what they want, they understand what they need, and Renshiro making a great work of that window rappel.
Grenade from below from Shaiko, but Rafal gets the kill onto Gig. How quiet Gig has gone. At one point, I think he was 5-2, now 5-7. Now the mighty have fallen. Sets us up for the execute Nick with 30 seconds remaining, and they'll try to burn through utility, but Renshiro goes down. What is this? Life on behalf of IG, and Joe picks up 3 big kills, leaving Rafal on the back of the map with 20 seconds left. They know where he is. He's got the lone kill for BDS, but it seems unlikely that he'll be able to get that much more. And no, Speakeasy picks one up. And you can see, even when they win, the celebration is quite low for Invictus.
I mean, they got a long way to go, Parker. Like, this one round is not going to make or break a difference unless we talk tiebreakers at the end of the group stage. They know that they're going to win many, many more rounds to go and bring it all the way into overtime just to have a chance to swing it in their favor and win the entire thing.
Well, that settles the top floor. That settles the top floor for CEO.
Yep.
That bomb site is in, it's in the pocket of Invictus. They'll go back downstairs to CCTV lockers where they were wholly unsuccessful back in round number 7. Again, not looking like they're going to take a timeout, because what is the point other than to maybe settle down some nerves? You know what? I could see if they win this round possibly taking a timeout to see where they go, but that's also a coin flip, because do you want to give BDS any potential breathing room? Do you want to stop and let BDS get back in this game?
It's hard to say, Parker, but I think the thing is, if you win this round and it goes 6-3, I think you as IG benefit more from the timeout than the potential of BDS. They're already at match point. They know what they want from this game, and if IG wants to figure that out for themselves, they should take the timeout, I think, in that case. However, I would love to see the mirror being utilized also in their basement, because it's such a strong operator, it makes the basement side much harder to attack. But no, that's not the case. They got the pulse instead, and they got a soft roam at the minute, just looking for some drones. They do have the smoke, which I love. But the echo in this case, we saw BDS try it as well, it doesn't grant you the most beneficial factor, as it's really difficult to maneuver those drones around with those hatches being opened.
Yeah. Instead, Invictus is going to go with a lineup that looks a little bit more similar. We're going to see the Smoke, the Jaeger, and the Pulse come out. Echo used to have a pretty large impact on this bomb site too, so those will be available. But how will BDS react to that? They've got an off-site scouting Yokai here, and Rafal will get under fire very quickly, and very narrowly taking out some members of Invictus. Nobody really dealing any damage. So they'll send out the Argus launcher, and Rafal actually looks like he got it the wrong way. That is unlucky. I don't really know how that...
I'm not sure exactly. Well, the thing is, you can change like the tube, right? You can move the camera from like front to back inside of that Argus camera, so... I believe. Pretty sure you can do that.
Who knows?
Anyway, Jordan scouting for information. I don't think... I might have missed him, but I don't think IG had a rotate on red on side here. No, they do not. It's a completely blank wall. There's no way to go from B into the red hallway. You gotta use the door, Parker. So once that hatch gets opened, limited mobility from IG and their shotgun player. Sorry, there is no shotgun player because Luna Metal is playing the FMG.
This is a very peculiar setup from Invictus. They must know something that we don't, with all of these changes that are very far from the norm. So they'll toss one of those marigold-covered smokes, the saffron smoke, whatever color you want to call it. And now another exothermic charge will blow up, or an exothermic charge will blow up another one of those hatches. Drones being thrown to Lunar Metal, a bit reckless abandon there as they both get shot away. Just a little bit over a minute left.
Yeah, Toxic Babes is slowly gonna start going out to stall for Lunar Metal himself. He can also pop that. Oh my god. He has ADSs as well that can recharge as the flashbangs go out, but he is in hell in a cell park.
That's an absolutely beautiful way to say it. Shaiiko takes out Jordan with a grenade. That's the very first kill of this round. Potentially 4 more to follow will seal the deal for the EU team to go perfect on the day. Lunar Metal at the top of blue and then another down below, but there you go. You can see why that's so impactful. The Flores drone goes off. Another one lined up, but Alems is too much to handle. He's got control of blue, and Gig is his next target. Down at the bottom, a drone is there. Do they know that Gig is positioned? Yes, they do. Damage from Alems, and he's just simply better, and he takes advantage of the fact that it's Gig, that inexperience coming out in spades. Both grenades from Shaiiko working well, leaving Speakeasy in a 1v3. That's actually a 1v2, as technically Rafael is down. He'll get picked right back up, as there's 20 seconds left. BDS need to understand what to do with Lunar Metal, or with Speakeasy rather, who is currently inside of red. Still playing off of this, it doesn't seem like there are yokais to do any work. Oh no, there is! He pulls it off at the last second, does some disorienting, and will now need to take the engagement. This is huge clutch potential, and he tries to start. There's only one to go. Holy hell, he pulls it off. Speakeasy with a huge 3-piece, and he gets the diffuser as well to keep Invictus in this.
Speakeasy with no rotate in towards the side, Parker has to go through a door with 2 guns in his face, and he somehow still comes out on top. Incredible.
And obviously, he's going to be overjoyed with that one. There's a reason why we talk about Speakeasy so much, Nick, and that kind of play is exactly it. From 5 and 6 to 8 and 6, playing off of the yokai at the last second, realizing I have utility, I can use it. Really, really wonderful stuff.
Yeah. We'd love to see a good clutch, Parker. And at first I was like, oh no, please not a yokai clutch where you plan on 0 seconds. And Speaky said, you know what, I'm not going to give you that. I'm just going to walk in there, get 2 headshots, find the 3rd on his rotate, and then take the round. 6-3 for IG.
More like Siege Easy.
More like, yeah, Parker. More like Siege Easy for Speakeasy.
More like Siege Easy. I had to do it. I had no choice.
Attackers need to locate
Absolutely true indeed. We're going back to open area. This is like the fan favorite. Like every team loves this bomb site, and most teams have found great success here as well. Again, no mirror. I feel like a broken record, but I would love to see the mirror coming out. Although, when IG had finding success without it, maybe it's fine not to play it. But this time around, Parker, they did bring a shotgun both on the castle and on Jordan on the mute. So, rotates will be made this time.
Well, Invictus have suddenly been able to put this one a little bit closer. I don't want to start talking about BDS falling off just yet.
Do it. Come on. See what happens.
No.
Heston.
They'll get so angry at me. Caliber Jacob will have to make a video about it.
Yeah, but who doesn't love Siege content, Parker?
That's true. That is true. And I do enjoy Caliber Jacob's content, though I'd never tell him that. So this is a secret.
Never should.
This is, you know what?
Never should.
Let's keep this a secret between you and I. The one thing to keep in mind for Invictus is that in any tiebreaker scenarios, Nick, Invictus needs to pick up as many rounds as is possible. They were able to do that against NiP. They had a 5-1 lead. They squandered it, but they still walked away with those 5 rounds. Yeah. In this case, against BDS, the more rounds that Invictus puts up, win or lose, that's going to help them deeper into this group when ultimately, who ends up winning? Is NiP going to take it? Is Sonics going to take it? We don't know. It's entirely possible that if NiP don't have the best performance and the Sonics show up the same way they did against BDS, that those points, those rounds from Invictus can go the distance. Gig finally getting a kill for the first time in 5 rounds or something along those lines. Guns down Rafal, and this is the life that Invictus needs.
Yeah, it's very true, Parker. We see Ensure again doing great work of those pesky castle barricades that are inside those double windows. Again, allowing the line of sight to help clear out these roamers. BDS will slowly start making their way as they want to gain more map control. They haven't gained a whole lot this time. IG holding their ground this time, and even found the kill to Rafael. So yeah, doing a good job so far.
This angle being held by Shaiiko, watching the rotate, leading to the top of stairs in the back of Tellers.
So this mood gem on this door park where LMG is standing is doing a lot of damage for BDS because they cannot drone inside of tellers, they cannot drone inside of archives. They're not entirely sure what this room looks like, but Jordan knows exactly what the setup is and he wants to find at least one kill before he falls back.
The last time Shaiko was attacking this part of the map, his grenades hit both of their targets, and it was so big for him and the rest of his team to open up that space and then continue to walk forward. But Alems has been on a heater today, and that tear will continue. His 11th kill picked up at the mercy of Jordan. Down goes Gig as he tries to drop on Bride, but a quick act from the Frenchman is more than enough. To run out from Lunar Metal will be Lunar Metal's second kill, and he will head back to the back of the map. I don't know if somebody's gonna be able to stop him in time, but this is peak APAC Siege, my friend. They are just going absolutely crazy, and Alems now trying to confront Jordan as Invictus regains a lead. Lunar Metal down, so it's a 2v2 unless Lunar Metal can be retrieved. Speakeasy still in the middle of the bomb site. Final 30 seconds to go, and a bit of a calm at the moment.
Yeah, Lunar Metal still being injured makes this a bit difficult for IG. Joe being so low on health as well, Alems can easily make use of that, and he does. He finds the guy with the most health, leaving just Joe with a sliver of health himself. 1 versus 2 with 10 seconds left on the clock, but Brady says, no, we take the round, we take the map, and BDS with a great first day of the major.
BDS takes it. What can you say, right?
Oh,
2-0, only dropping a couple rounds over those two matches. First against the Sonics and now against Invictus. They've got something to be happy about. FaZe Clan showing their dominance with their 2-0. Now BDS doing the same. Who else from the groups will emerge with as strong of a first day as these two teams have? We still need to wait to see that.
Yes, we do. There are more games we played, although none more for us to cast, Parker. This is actually the end for us of day 1. But at that last round there, I just want to touch upon it. For a moment, I thought that IG were pulling a damn one Kia with the train not having any brakes, and as you said, pulling an APAC, throwing impacts, seeking gunfights, getting kills, and it looked really great for a brief moment. Then a lynch happened.
Nothing excites me more than hearing the APAC casters, and especially the Aussie casters, talk about APAC Siege or talk about Aussie Siege, because it is so unpredictable and chaotic. It is enjoyable to watch, and teams have no idea how to deal with it. You think that Brazilians can get aggressive? Well, wait until you see what Australians can do. Look at what can happen in South Asia and those teams in the region. But Invictus ultimately, I think, showed more life than I expected.
Certainly, especially towards the later rounds. Gig was very much alive the first couple rounds, then he kind of slowed down. Arrogant a little bit in the later rounds, but the entirety of IG seemed to get more comfortable as time went on almost as if they started feeling out BDS a little bit and figuring out how they wanted to play the game and saying, no, we're going to start contesting the way that you want to approach the map and make you play on our terms.
I mean, that's the way it is, right? The team that can set the pace often ends up winning that matchup, and it's very hard for teams that are less experienced or teams that don't exactly have the best grasp on their roster, for example, because you don't have Hysterics. I just think back to this matchup in particular. Not that Gig was bad, but imagine Hysterics playing on this team. What's the scoreline against BDS? Does Invictus defeat Ninjas in Pajamas? Because if we think back to Mexico, Invictus came very close to making it out of their group.
Yep.
So there's potential here, and they are by no means a bad team, but they are playing with a handicap, which is that their coach is there. Same with Oxygen, who almost beat Rogue earlier.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful thing because, yeah, imagine what they could do. They've done so much already. We'll never know, at least not this time around, but hopefully we'll see more of them in the future with the full roster.
Absolutely. So that's it for Nick and I today, but there's still more action to come on both streams. Right now on Rainbow Six Bravo, we've got another set of matches going, and then of course there's more to come here too, and we know you want to watch some professional Rainbow Six, so we have a break ready for you. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.